Welcome back, Truth Seeker. February 6th, 2019, a Wednesday. Again, going forward, we're going to do the podcast on Wednesday at 1 p.m. in the afternoon Pacific time, 4 Eastern, because I have the radio show tonight. That way the broadcast isn't so late when most people are sleeping. So Wednesday will be the one day of the week we do it in the afternoon. Lots to talk about today. Virginia's Attorney General Mark Herring, now dressed up in blackface, is Kurtis Blow when he was 19 years old. We're going to get to that story. I'm going to show you what a ritual this is and how it's synced up with Kurtis Blow's birthday. No doubt a contrived news story just to bring more racial divisiveness during Black History Month. We have a black politician accused of sexual assault. Same pattern here. We'll get to that. The Pope making remarks by the numbers, offending a lot of people. We're going to talk a lot about the State of the Union and all these special guests and the rituals and how it's so easy to see through when you know the Gematria. And I thought this was one of the most bizarre things they did during the State of the Union. They went to this shot for just a moment so you could catch that he was on page number 42. We'll get to that. That was something. Talk about the day Trump and Kim Jong-un are going to meet for the second summit. A Nebraska sports fan made a great observation about the Super Bowl. We'll get to that. One more 26 for the ritual. There's always more. Another dead football player on his birthday. And great observation this morning about the world of sports and LeBron James and King James. I got to share that with you. For all of you trying to wake your friends and family up to this, you got to share this, especially the sports enthusiasts. Should blow their mind. Couple of NFL coach hirings by the numbers. But first, let's start with this day in history. February 6th. On this day, Ronald Reagan was born. And in light of him being born February 6th, he died at age 93, Reagan did. The numbers 26 and 93 are both associated with Saturn. And as we move through this presentation of this day in history, you're going to see how 93 and 26 come together a number of times. It's not just here. So I don't think this is arbitrary, that he died at age 93, was born February 6th. Got another Reagan thing ahead, too. It's not the only Reagan thing on this day in history. We know about the strong relationship with 6 and 26. We just saw it play out in the Super Bowl. 6 and 26. Again, it comes from the Bible, where on the 6th day of creation, mankind's made in the 26th verse. First man's name is Adam. Adam happens to have that gematria of 26 like God. And in this case, Massachusetts became the 6th state on 2/6. 6th equals 26. We just saw Tom Brady, who plays for the team in Massachusetts, win his 6th Super Bowl and bring home the 26th for the AFC. Not an accident. On this day in history in 1952, King James VI dropped dead. Remember, if you write out 6 as a word, it equals 52, dead in 52. That brought on Queen Elizabeth. And the date February 6th can be written 6/2 or 2/6. Queen equals 62 and 26. She'd have her coronation on June 2nd. Another date that can be written 6/2 or 26. Covered this some time ago, probably in August. The death of King George VI. There were quite a few riddles here. George VI equals 88, like Elizabeth, who he was replaced by. Again, dead in 52. George VI also has Gematria 52, the year he died. His date of passing was a date with 79 numerology. As we know, the word murder equals 79. Murder 79. 79 is the 22nd prime number, King 22, the passing of the king. He died on his 55th day of his age, and the word sacrifice also has Gematria 55. His cause of death was lung cancer, which sums to 55 as well. See it again and again. Cause of death for celebrities syncs up with the date, the ritual. His full name had gematria of 145 like numerology. Numerology also has that connection to 55. February 6th, when written out as a word, has a gematria of 76 connecting to blood sacrifice. From Queen Elizabeth's birthday, or from the date of death to Queen Elizabeth's birthday, was 76 days. We're going to talk a lot about quite a few deaths on this day in history. So today, write for it. Of course, the word sacrifice alone is 62, and the date can be written 6/2. Queen Elizabeth, remember how Prince died on her birthday in 2016? There's her coronation, June 2nd, the beginning of her reign, February 6th. So perfect for a queen. And we saw Aretha Franklin die in August by the numbers. Aretha Franklin's death had a lot to do with 26 and 62. Dying on the same day, Elvis the King died in history. Okay, so coming back to this day in history, in 1987, Wall Street Journal reporter Gerald Sieb was released after being detained 6 days, 6 and 2/6. February 6th looks a lot like 26, by Iran, accused of being a spy for Israel. Iran said the detention was a result of misunderstandings. That was a date with 93 numerology, and he worked for the Wall Street Journal. When you write out Wall Street Journal, it equals 226. Remember, when you write out 226, it equals 93. The relationship here is that in Jewish gematria, planet equals 226, and using the alphabetic order, Saturn equals 93, the most important planet to the occult, connected to time. And Saturn's also the 6th planet from the sun, 6 days. Likely the story was all contrived propaganda, Propaganda 93. And this involved Israel. And what do we know about Israel in 93? Again, the nation was drawn up September 3rd, 1947. From then to the present, been a whole lot of 93 rituals with Israel, something we talk about quite frequently. For the record, that date also had 33 numerology. 33 breaks down to 6. In 1991, comedian and television performer Danny Thomas died in Los Angeles at age 79. Murder, 79. Not only that, but the day he died was a date with 118 numerology. Death in Jewish gematria is 118. Los Angeles, California equals 118. The city's on the 118th meridian. We saw Los Angeles burn November 8th, 118. Last year, 2018, Paradise, California also equals 118, burned the same day. But a fateful number always, 118. They said those California wildfires became the deadliest of all time. Also on this day in history, Arthur Ashe died in 93, Saturn 93, Saturn 26, Saturn connected to death and judgment. And I have an older post on Arthur Ashe's death. Quite a few things stand out. From his date of death to his upcoming birthday that year would have been 154 days, ritual sacrifice 154. He died on a date with 30 numerology, dead from AIDS, age 30, sick 30. They say AIDS makes it so your immune system can't fight illness. Notice Arthur Ashe in the most pure cipher equals 47. 47. From his last birthday to his death was 211 days, the 47th prime number. We're going to be talking about this same pattern with the death of a Beach Boy in a moment, who died on this day in history. Arthur Ashe sums to 47 and 61 as well, so does time. The 119 stands out because Saturn, the keeper of time. He also died in New York, NY. New York, NY has that gematria in 93 as well. So Arthur Ashe went on a fitting date corresponding with his name. Again, I maintain this code is where that phrase comes from. Your number's up. Your number's up. Arthur Ashe's number was up that day. In 1998, President Bill Clinton signed a bill changing the name of Washington National Airport to Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. So that was 87 years after his birth. The word plane happens to have gematria of 87. Also on that day, Pop's music star Falco, who had a 1986 hit, we know Blood Sacrifice 86, died in a traffic accident in the Dominican Republic. He was 40. Well, very fitting date for him to go. Again, February 6th can be written 6/2. Sacrifice is 62. His first name, Johann, gematria of 26 and 62, like how the date can be written, February 6th. And Falco, his artist name, gematria of 26 as well. He died 13 days shy of his birthday, the 6th prime. He would have been 61 years old. The other death on this day in history was Carl Wilson, founding member of the Beach Boys, dead at age 51. And notice, from his birthday to his death, 47 days later, 47 days, rock equals 47, the Beach Boys equals 211, the 47th prime number. So how fitting for him as a Beach Boy to die 47 days after his birthday. The word beach itself also has gematria 26, a Beach Boy dead on 2/6. In 2000 on this day, Hillary Clinton launched her successful candidacy for the U.S. Senate. Keep in mind she was born on October 26th. And keep in mind, the Clinton dynasty, a lot of people forget this. Bill Clinton was born Bill Blythe. Therefore, Bill and Hillary do not have a bloodline to the name Clinton. Bill Clinton's father died in a car accident May 17th, 1946, a few months before Clinton was born. And his mother married into the Clinton political dynasty, the same political dynasty where the first governor of New York, George Clinton, that family. So how fitting that Hillary would go on to become a senator in New York. And consider, right after Bill Clinton took office in 93, the big news story not long after was the 93 World Trade Center bombing. So Clinton's connections to New York, big Clinton or New York tragedy right after Clinton takes office. Shortly after Clinton leaves office, you get September 11, 2001. And again, 93-26, Saturn. The Clintons took office in 93. Also on this day in history, President George W. Bush declared the game is over for Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein would end up being found in a foxhole in Tikrit, in Operation Red Dawn, all by the numbers, and I imagine all planned and made for television. But he did it on this February 6th day, 2/6. And what that reminds me of is from September 11, 2001 until the day we invaded Afghanistan, October 7th. Remember, military equals 107. That was 26 days later. The word crusade has that gematria 26. So then on 2/6 again, more of the same. I missed this part about the Michael Jackson thing. ABC's 2020 aired a British documentary, Living with Michael Jackson, in which the king of pop revealed he sometimes let children sleep in his bed. I remember that being a big story at the time. Go back and look at that. Michael Jackson definitely went out by the numbers. All right, so that was this day in history. Let's talk about this day in 2019. Virginia politics and chaos. Chaos. Definitely going to be the word of the year all year. Chaos equals 19. And this story is about how the Virginia Attorney General, who happens to be the 47th Attorney General of the state, and here we are on a date with 47 numerology, how he dressed up in blackface when he was 19 years old. And I mean, I don't think the average American really even cares about these stories. They probably just look and roll their eyes. But it's obvious what the media tries to do, you know. The themed propaganda, Black History Month. Now they want to talk about a 19-year-old dressed up in blackface imitating a rapper. So here it is. Virginia's Attorney General says he wore blackface at 1980 college party. And today is 2/6. What's blackface equal? 26. So that's fitting. His name's Mark Herring, which equals 67, the 19th prime. The story is about how when he was 19 years old, he dressed up as the rapper Kurtis Blow. Here's his quote. In 1980, when I was a 19-year-old undergraduate in college, some friends suggested we attend a party. I'm going to take this call just in case it's somebody listening to the show. Maybe they got something to chime in. Caller, are you part of the live stream right now?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Can you call me back? This is Brandon from the Gate of Severity when you're...
Oh, yeah, you're the brilliant man. I'll call you back. Yes, sir.
Thanks.
All right, take care. That's the new guy who figured out all that stuff about the Golden Gate Bridge. Anyhow, in 1980, when I was 19-year-old undergraduate in college, some friends suggested we attend a party dressed like rappers we listened to at the time, like Kurtis Blow, and perform a song, he said. Sounds ridiculous even now writing it, but because of our ignorance and glib attitudes and because we did not have an appreciation for the experiences and perspectives of others, we dressed up and put on wigs and brown makeup. He added, this was a one-time occurrence and I accept full responsibility for my conduct. That conduct clearly shows that as a young man, I had a callous and inexcusable lack of awareness and insensitivity to the pain my behavior could inflict on others. It was really a minimization of both people of color and a minimization of a horrific history I knew well even then. So, check this out. Kurtis Blow in Gematria sums to 42, the rapper mentioned. And here we are in February, 42, Black History Month. And we know about the long list of 42 that's associated with Black history that's covered well in the 18th chapter of my book. When you write out 26 as a word, it also sums to 42. And this is a pattern we've seen throughout history, going back to Nellie getting busted or accused of rape on the bus in the 42nd state, Washington, on a date with 26 numerology. Bus, of course, 42, like Black history on the bus. But look at this. From Kurtis Blow's birthday, which is August 9th, 1959, like how Negro slave and blues equal 59 and February ends on the 59th day. From his birthday to today is 181 days later, the 42nd prime number. Black history also equals 181. We talked about how Barack Obama equals 181, and from his birthday to the start of Black History Month, February 1st, is 181 days each year. It just goes to show this stuff is so manufactured. It's so contrived. The New World Order that does this, the people who control our media, they are so dead set on making sure everything is so perfect with their propaganda rituals. And it really is their biggest great giveaway. And it's just such a tragedy that the rest of the truth community will not talk about this. I don't see anyone in the truth community actually even talk about the contrived racism and the divisive racial propaganda that's been put out for a number of years. But the whole time I've been doing this, it's just been the same thing again and again. The first video I ever made was about, Michael Brown, and ended up talking about Darren Wilson with the 42 on his shirt, the white police officer with the blonde hair and the blue eyes who supposedly shot Michael Brown. Now Ferguson, Missouri, or 42, it's just been nonstop ever since. And even before that, they were doing the same thing. But I mean, just unreal. Unreal. When I started to read this, I was like, wow, I wonder if Kurtis Blow's even going to be synced up. And sure enough, couldn't have been any more perfect. 181, the 42nd prime. So here it is. This man's the 47th Attorney General. Today has the 47 date numerology, 2 plus 6 plus 20 plus 19. Racist equals 47. Remember this past MLB season, all these young pitchers, they were going back and finding their racist tweets, and it kept being a 47 show. Every time they'd bring it up, it had some 47 connection. This man was also born in 61, the 18th prime. Race has the Gematria of 18. Race also has the Gematria of 27. Today has the 27 date numerology. And this comes on the back of the story of the Virginia governor, born in 59, who's 59 years old. Covered that well. It was the same ritual and numbers. And also, I believe this story emerged last night. Today, the accuser came out and gave a descriptive account of what happened. We have a black politician, Justin Fairfax, accused of sexual assault in 2004. 2-4, the key digits, 4-2 in reverse. His name, Justin Fairfax, 59. And by the way, where's Fairfax at? Virginia. Virginia, a state that has a long history that has to do with slavery. Justin Fairfax, 59. Slave, Negro, Blues, all 59. The Civil War ended on May 9th, 59. The name Justin also carries the Gematria 42. Again, here we are in February, Black History Month. His birthday is in February, and he's 39 years old right now. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., both assassinated at age 39. The segregation era ended in 39. Part of me is wondering if he's going to have to resign and he'll be replaced with the 42nd lieutenant governor. Could it be? I just caught wind of this. It's why, the key words up here that they used, humiliation and shame. What stood out about that headline is humiliation has the Gematria of 59. Shame has the Gematria of 26, like how the headline's running today, 2-6. The name of the accuser, again, I was saying I just caught wind of this. What? Why isn't that working? The accuser's name is Vanessa Tyson, and it reminds how ESPN recently just came out with that 30 for 30 called 42-1 about Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas. But Dr. Vanessa C. Tyson. I would have had to start the podcast too late if I did more decode, but here, it's just looking real time. Dr. Vanessa C. Tyson, 89, that's the 11th Fibonacci number, black 11. Let's see. Tyson carries the Gematria of 42, also 93, like Black History Month. You just talked about this the other day. Martin Luther King Jr., 93, Malcolm X, 93, Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks, 93. Vanessa C. Tyson. Vanessa C. Tyson, 42. I mean, something else. 18, also like race. So yeah, I figured there'd be more. There always is. They just got to code their numbers. So Tyson and Vanessa C. Tyson, 42. That's why they stick the middle initial in there. And that means that if you don't use the middle initial, if you lose the doctor part and don't use the middle initial, it's 39, like his age. Again, like how the segregation era ended at 39, 1939. All right, in other news, Pope Francis, he offended a lot of the world yesterday, February 5th, talking about sexual slavery. Just read this real quick. A day after Pope Francis created an international uproar by saying Catholics, nuns had been subjected to sexual slavery by the founder of a French order, the Vatican sought to clarify his remarks. Right away, French order, Catholic Church, makes me start thinking of Scottish Rite, long history in France, Scottish Rite and Jesuits, Pope Francis the first Jesuit. Anyway, when the Holy Father, referring to the dissolution of a congregation, spoke of sexual slavery, he meant manipulation, a form of abuse of power, which is reflected also in sexual abuse, said Vatican spokesman Alessandro Gizotti. The Pope's shocking comments were the first time he has publicly acknowledged the sexual abuse of nuns by Catholic bishops and priests. To date, much of the clergy abuse scandal has focused on minors, who represent the vast majority of cases. But many Catholics say abuse of vulnerable adults, including nuns and seminarians, has long been a problem in the church. Some hope the church will address the issue at the upcoming meeting on the abuse crisis to be convened by Pope Francis from February 21st to 24th. Interesting dates. February 21st is the 52nd day of the year, and this whole thing started yesterday, February 5th, a date that can be written 5/2 like 52 or 2/5 like 25. Notice Pope is 52 and 25. Vatican's also 25. Yesterday had the 46 date numerology. Catholic equals 46, like how there's 46 books in the Catholic Bible. In the Old Testament, that is, 46 books in the Old Testament, the Catholic Bible, whereas most Bibles are 39 books. The clarification comes today, the date with 47 numerology, Vatican and Francis also 47. And from the Pope's birthday to today, the day of the clarification is 52. And then what are the odds that, they're going to have this event on the 52nd day of the year? Again, everything related to the Vatican and Pope Francis, everything. So perfectly done by this code. Controversies, just everything. We've talked about this a number of times over the years. Pope Francis, the first publicly Jesuit Pope. Again, the whole story is, after the Crusades, the Knights Templar secured this knowledge of Kabbalah. They brought it back to the Catholic Church, and then it spread amongst elites throughout Europe. And seems that that's where the seeds of the New World Order are. Vatican, the oldest university in the history of the world. The Catholic Church very much been a government in many places throughout the world, throughout history. All right, now as for the State of the Union, one of the big storylines last night was the solidarity between the women all dressing in white, which was most often seen through Nancy Pelosi dressed in white behind Donald Trump, grinning, smirking through nearly the entire presentation. The thing about white is it has a Gematria 25. And again, the date of this was February 5th, 2/5. It got moved to this date. It wasn't supposed to be this date, but they moved it here for the ritual. Trump's also 25. Can flip the date around, 5/2 like 52. President, government, White House, authority, they're all 52. So Donald Trump had 13 invited guests. 13. What do we know about that number? One of them was Matthew Charles, who was said to be 52 years old. 52-year-old Matthew Charles on 5/2. And he was there to represent the First Step Act, this program for getting people out of prison who don't belong there. And look at his name in the base ciphers. Matthew Charles and First Step Act, perfect overlap with the alphabetic order, and also with the reverse alphabetic order and rules of numerology. And what do we know about these numbers? 156 connects to 33. When you write out 33 as a word, same cipher, it's 156. Federal Masonry secrecy order, they're all 33. 78, same as Scottish Rite. Scottish Rite has its headquarters in DC. The name Matthew Charles is 57, also like Scottish Rite. First Step Act, 48, like Donald Trump, like Freemason. Donald Trump was sure to talk about how he's done this great thing for these 2 African-American people with his First Step Act. And then right from there, he transitioned into going after the Mexicans. So here it is, the 52-year-old man on 5/2. President 52, Trump 25, excuse me. This was spoken last night in the thing. Charles found God while in prison and completed more than 30 Bible studies. When I heard him say that, I had a grin on my face because, of course, the word Bible equals 30. Jesus begins his ministry at age 30. Scottish equals 113, the 30th prime number, as in the Scottish Rite. Just coded into this man's name, 5778. The guest that most people will probably remember was the young girl, the cancer survivor. Her name was Grace Aline. And again, 2552, Grace Aline 52, Grace 25. Trump referred to her as Grace multiple times. Couldn't have been any more perfect. The date of this event, date with 26 numerology, Cancer and Chemo 26. So let's go through the 13 guests now. The biggest guest of honor was the astronaut Buzz Aldrin. What's his name equal? 52. Of course. Look at the Gematria Buzz Aldrin, 133. That's the same as government, White House, president. Again, going back to Donald Trump's first GOP debate when it was a candidate of 20-some people for the Republicans. They put up on the screen he was the 133rd richest man according to Forbes during the debate. And I said, oh, there's a number to remember. 137, Washington, D.C., 137. Government's also 137. So is authority, the 33rd prime. 56, Washington, D.C., 56. Buzz has numbers. He's got all sorts of numbers. Aldrin, 58. NASA established in 58. Freemasonry, 58. Secret Society, 58. Trump, the winner of the 58th U.S. presidential election. They had the family that was supposedly attacked by the 19-year-old illegal Mexican immigrant. We covered this story not long ago, maybe a week or two ago. And this happened in Reno, Nevada. Trump had a number of campaign stops there. Reno, Nevada, number 45, like Trump, number 45. The mother's name, Deborah Bissell, 45. There's actually a whole lot more encoded in this name. You can take it apart further if you want. But you just got to say, what are the odds? What are the odds? The whole news story we covered the day of looked like a bunch of propaganda by the numbers. You know, Donald Trump had a tweet about it. The name of the attacker, his name was 137. You know, the big government number. So the attack was on January 19th by the 19-year-old, by the way. So here's the 52-year-old man, Matthew Charles. We just covered his story. He's the first step back. The young girl, Grace Aline, the 2552 thing. Here's another story. Ashley Evans. Ashley Evans. And maybe I should pull open this article real quick. I forgot what Ashley Evans was there for. Let's see. Ashley Evans has struggled with opioid and substance abuse. That's right, for much of her life. So big theme right now, you know, we're over there guarding the poppy fields, funneling in the opioids, got a nation addicted, drugs, medical treatment. It's big business. This nation very much invested in keeping we the people sick. But her name, Ashley and Evans, 2525. And Ashley Evans also 58, like Trump, the winner of the 58th U.S. presidential election. Elvin Hernandez, a special agent with the Trafficking in Person Unit of the Department of Homeland Security's Homeland Security Investigation Division. So they mentioned he has more than 18 years of federal law enforcement experience investigating narcotics, gangs, and human trafficking. And then during his current 7-year assignment, 18-7, like 187, like how Washington, D.C. is 187, George Washington, ancient accepted Scottish rite of Freemasonry, Trump having his GOP convention 18/7, 187 days from Inauguration Day. This man's name, Elvin Hernandez, a lot of things stand out here. 157, just like United States in that cipher. 76, that reminds of George Washington, who died at age 67. July 6th, the 187th day of the year. That's George W. Bush's birthday. 221, the Bavarian Illuminati 221, established with 13 families. Trump has 13 guests. Again, the Bavarian Illuminati established May 1st, just before the American Revolution in 1776. 68, Donald John Trump, 68. The Apprentice, 68. Another guest was Roy James. Roy James is the plant manager of the Vicksburg Forest Products lumber facility. He had worked at the sawmill for 26 years and become vice president of operations when he was told that the facility would be closing its doors. Thankfully, last year, Vicksburg was designated an opportunity zone through a provision in the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. So he was there to show that Donald Trump's policies have saved a lot of American jobs, helped grow the economy. Couldn't help but notice the gematria of his name. Roy James, 110 and 47, President, 110 and 47. And we know 47, the big number in D.C. Alice Johnson, this was another woman, if I'm not mistaken, who was part of this First Step Act. Yeah. So she was the other example. And her name had that gematria 64, like civil rights. You know, this is a civil rights issue. There were a few other things in her name, but the 64, that was the one that stood out the most. We also had Joshua Kaufman. Joshua equals 74, like Jewish. He is the survivor of Auschwitz and Dachau. So he survived 2 concentration camps. And what stood out about his name, Joshua Kaufman, is it also sums to 42, like World War, like war, like how they say the Germans began killing people in the Holocaust in the year 42. Holocaust equals 33. In this cipher, the dark blue one, if you use the rule for S, Holocaust is also 42. And don't forget, Auschwitz has that gematria 113. The number from the Talmud says it's okay for Jews to lie to non-Jews, as long as it's within a legal setting. This guy was, they showed this, I think they showed this guy more than anybody last night. He was next to Buzz Aldrin too. He had this same look on his face the whole night. Whole night he just had that big old smile. Irving Locker. Made me think of that movie, The Hurt Locker. This guy's a World War II vet. Look at his name, Irving Locker, 181, the 42nd prime. World War II vet, World War 42. This was one of the heroes from the Tree of Life Synagogue shooting. Timothy Matson, TM. And TM breaks down to 2-4. Anyhow, Timothy Matson's also 57, like Scottish Rite, like Jews. It was the synagogue shooting. Timothy Matson's also 159, like Donald Trump, like Scottish Rite. And Tree of Life, 52. Again, this event on 5/2, February 5th. They had another World War II veteran there, Joseph Riley. They said he was a member of the 101st Airborne, part of the Utah Beach event. 101's the 26th prime. This was on a date with 26 numerology. It's also the 36th day of the year. Riley has that double gematria 36 in the base ciphers. Then they had another Tree of Life member, another survivor, Judah Samet. He brought him up during his speech when he was talking about, you know, how people should never be anti-Semitic. Of course, yesterday they passed the anti-BDS legislation. That bill that the Senate passed, it was the anti-boycott of Israel, and also urging us to stay in Afghanistan and Syria, which are the wars that Israel wants. So we're going to see what happens. Donald Trump, for part of his speech, was saying we need to end these wars. You know, we can't take care of our problems here if we're always focused on the wars overseas. And as much as I can't stand Donald Trump, and I know he's a puppet on strings, I got to say I do agree with that rhetoric, but I just have a feeling it doesn't mean anything. I have a feeling it's, you know, giving us things that at least some of us want to hear. But this man's name, Judah, his name has that gematria 44, like shooting. Remember, the shooter of the synagogue got 44 counts. 91, that's the 13th triangular number. 13 people invited. 77, Judaism equals 77. Zionist equals 77. There's a 13 there too. 13 guests invited. 58, we know all about it, right? Tree of Life Synagogue is also 91. to go with his name, Judah. And then this one. Supposedly, this boy's been getting bullied because his name's Trump. His name's Joshua Trump. Been getting bullied because of his last name, so he was invited. Of course, Trump's 25. Look at Joshua Trump in our most peer cipher. 45. 45. Also 63, like how 2016's the 63rd triangular. Trump announced as the 45th president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Berlin Wall's 45 and 63 in those same ciphers. Joshua has that gematria of 88, like Trump as well. Probably a relative. And then there was Tom Wibberley. And very quickly, I got to go be reminded what he was all about. Tom Wibberley is the father of Navy seaman Craig Wibberley, a seaman killed on the USS Cole. That's right. All right, so we saw how at the beginning of this year, when this year began, we got the story of the man being killed in Yemen who was one of the USS Cole attackers, and it was news by the numbers. This guy's name, Tom Wibberley, what stood out right away was the 59, Freemasonry 59, the 17th prime. The name Wibberley has the gematria 52 to go with the date. Also the 47. 101, the 26 prime, 26 date numerology. But just amazing how everybody just ties in. The person who tied in the least was that Alice Johnson. But everybody else, man, just strong. And then here was another World War II vet, Herman Zichik. Herman Zichik. He's got the 91, the 13th triangular. 44 like military. 59 like Freemasonry, 150 like Illuminati. Remember, the Bavarian Illuminati established with 13 families, 13 guests, 78 like Scottish Rite, 228 like United States of America, 75 like New World Order. Thought the greatest New World Order moment of the State of the Union was Trump talking about how the World War II vets made it so that we don't have to live under tyranny. Which I laughed at just like that as it was said. We're definitely living under tyranny. Quite certain the world's been under tyranny since before World War II, and it's only gotten worse since. He was part of the Utah Beach attack as well. Some numbers definitely stand out about Utah Beach. 174 and 69, also like New World Order. So those were your 13 guests, and quite a few 25s and 52s between them. The odds of such alignment, astronomical. Of course, we know this stuff's not a coincidence, even though so many people want to continue to say that it is. This moment was bizarre. It probably depends on what broadcast you were watching. I was watching online through Time, Time magazine. By the way, Time equals 25. But this happened right before Trump began speaking about women, and he said something about 58% in regards to women. We know why he said 58. But with regards to the 42 being put on the screen right before talking about the women, again, female equals 42 with the alphabetic order, so does lady. Even the word bitch is 42. And the word feminine in the base cipher is also 42. So I thought that was real interesting. Plus, 42 is a big Freemason number. The capital G in Sumerian gematria, that's where you multiply the alphabetic order times 6. 7 times 6, 42. DC is 42. Freemason with the alphabetic order and rules of numerology is 42. DC is 42. Washington, D.C. The 42nd state is Washington. George Washington, the Freemason. So they didn't do this for any other page number or at any other moment. It was just this one. They just went here for probably about 10 seconds. They held this shot for about 10 seconds. Here, I'll show you how it was done. You can verify this yourself. Let me get past this ad here. If you go to 3 hours and 32 minutes, you can see it's still up there. It starts at 15 seconds. But yeah, it's up for about 10 seconds, and then it just goes away. Then they go to the crown. But they're sure to show you that 42 in the can't quite get it to go back a second. It's too skippy. Anyway, it's there. If you go to 3:32:15, the time, you'll see it. And they don't do that anywhere else in this broadcast. It's the only time they put up that number. And we know what that number is all about. All right, Kim Jong-un and Trump, the date's now set, February 27th. That's going to be 107 days before Trump's birthday. Military equals 107. They're going to meet about, military weaponry. It's also going to be a date with 48 numerology, which is fitting because Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un are 48. It's also a date with 68 numerology. And what do we know? Donald John Trump, 68. The Apprentice, 68. The last summit, June 12th to February 27th, is a span of 261 days. The United States of America, 261. Remember, we had a lot of involvement in the Korean Wars. Got to keep our boogeymen up throughout the world so that we have a reason to keep spending so much on military. I say, no doubt, North Korea is just a puppet nation of the United States, our false boogeyman. All right. Now, with regards to sports, Nebraska fan called me this morning and he said, hey, I just heard this stat that Nebraska has had a football player in the Super Bowl for 26 straight years. And remember, this year's NFL season was all about 26. Nebraska happens to equal 26. The player that was in the game was number 34 for the Patriots. The Super Bowl was on the 34th day of the year. His name's Burkhead. He put the game away with a 26-yard run at the end to clinch it. And recall, this NFL season began on the 26th of Elul, a date with 26 numerology. The first game the Falcons played in, the only touchdowns scored in that game were by number 26, just like how in the Super Bowl the only touchdown scored was by number 26, who happened to be a local Georgia football athlete. So, again, from college to pro, the script is deep, the planning's deep. You also had a player on the Rams, Sue, who went to Nebraska as well. They advanced to the Super Bowl with 26 points. And then when the Rams lost, they got their 26th playoff loss all time. But again, the scripts are just so deep. Yesterday, when the Patriots were having their parade for winning the Super Bowl, a football player from the UK died. He used to play for a London team, and he dropped dead at age 74 on his birthday. Birthday's February 5th, dead February 5th. London, he was 74 years old. As we know, London's 74, so is Masonic, so is Gematria, so is English, so is Killing, just using the alphabetic order. So is Occult. There's that song, Gematria, the Killing Name. Birthday has that Gematria 42. When you write out 42, it's 74. The man who died, named Gematria 45 like New England. 45, the 9th triangular, the 9th Super Bowl with Brady and Belichick. And he died on a date with 46 numerology as well, sacrifice. So again, I just say, what are the odds? What are the odds of all of these football players dying in proximity to the Super Bowl and all having the numbers that connect to the game? In this case, the day of the Patriots parade. Now, this is awesome. Always talked about LeBron James winning the NBA Finals on King James's birthday. Again, LeBron James, King James. He played for the Cavaliers. King James's son, King Charles. The people who fought for him were called Cavaliers. But look at this. We're taking it a whole new. We're taking it a whole step further. This is amazing. June 19th, which is King James's birthday, the day that LeBron James won the only championship for the Cavs. June 19th can be written 619, like 619. That's the 114th prime number, and LeBron James equals 114. I mean, just how deep is it? And I've already been saying for years that no doubt LeBron was born and bred in 1984 when David Stern took over the league to play for the Cavs in this planned riddle. But you can just see how cleverly the name is thought out, just everything about it. LeBron equals 66. LeBron James equals 66. King in Jewish Gematria equals 66. King James was born in the year 66. The Bible named after him, 66 books in length. It's just all so cleverly thought out, but never noticed that until today. The 619-114 connection. And if you guys saw how LeBron James got blown out by the Pacers last night, Indiana Pacers in the same cipher is 114. Don't forget LeBron James with the rules of numerology is 42. He got beat by 42 points last night. And just for a reminder, when the Cavs did beat the Warriors went down with 89 points, King James 89. The Cavs won in Oracle Arena 93, like the winning score. And the date, for the record, the date LeBron won, King James's birthday, it was a date with 41 numerology, King 41, the 13th prime, King James a king at 13 months of age. LeBron won it with the Cavs in his 13th season. It's also a date with 61 numerology, final 61. Before that game, both teams had 610 points scored, if I remember correctly. Fibonacci number. 89 is a Fibonacci number as well. Also, we had 2 NFL hirings for head coaches. You got Brian Flores, who went from the Patriots to the Dolphins. He's 37 years old. His name Brian's 37. He just helped the Patriots win their 37th playoff game, winning the Super Bowl. This announcement was made on the 35th day of the year. Football has that Gematria 35 in the septenary cipher. And Brian Flores is a great name to coach the Dolphins. No accident. Again, you see this stuff again and again and again. He's going to be coaching in Florida at age 38. Let me take this one step further. Whoops, hitting all the wrong buttons. Dolphins, 38. In Florida's 38. He'll be 38 when next NFL season's taking place. So Brian Flores with the Dolphins by the numbers. Couldn't have scripted it any better. He was also hired on 4-2, Black Man 4-2. They fired nearly all the black coaches in the NFL on Black Monday, as they call it. But he gets hired on 4-2. It was a date with 45 numerology. Miami's 45, so is Patriots. So again, just so perfect. Zach Taylor was also hired on this day. He went from the Rams to the Bengals. And look how perfect this is. Hired on the 35th day of the year at age 35. Taylor's 35. Again, big football number. From his last birthday to the hiring, 271 days. That's the 58th prime, like Freemasonry. And from the hiring to his upcoming birthday, 96 days. He's going to be coaching Cincinnati 96. The divisors of 42 sum to 96. He was hired on 4-2, February 42. Freemasonry running the show. Same thing. Sport after sport, season after season. It just never ends. Perfect alignments. And some people just keep looking at it and saying it's got to be a coincidence. So, with that said, I don't have anything else to cover unless there's some breaking news. Five key takeaways from Trump's speech. 5 points of fellowship in Freemasonry. 5 has that Gematria 42. How 19 claims Trump made during the State of the Union checkout. 19, huh? Sure, that's just a coincidence. 10-year-old identified years later. U.S. Army plans to buy Iron Dome weapons. That means Iron Dome is Israel's military program. Look at Iron Dome Gematria. Again, Israel in 93, always. So we're going to be buying back weapons from Israel. Think about that. We paid for those weapons. Can you imagine being that good of a neighbor? You give your neighbor like something nice, and then your neighbor comes back to you and they're like, hey, we need some more shekels. How much can I sell this to you for that you gave to me? And we're such a good neighbor. We're like, how much do you need? Pay you 500 times the market value. How's that sound? Perfect. That's the relationship with Israel and the United States. Buy back what we gave them. Perfect. All right, you guys, let's just wrap it up here. I got to be back for the radio show tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. The spot is TFR Live. Already had enough of me. I can't blame you. But every Wednesday night, we do the show. You just come here, you click the listen live. In recent weeks, TFR's fixed their site, so it should work on your cell phone. For a while, it wasn't working on cell phones, but it is now fixed. Should work on your cell phone. 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. Before I go, let me just say hello to the chat. Appreciate all the loyal people here every day. A woman found in a suitcase yesterday. I missed that one. Great catch, Berkeley. Suitcase 25. Welcome, Brandon. Tom Pierce, I thought you had a wrench. Let me give out some wrenches before I go. All right. I think everybody's got a wrench now. Thanks, everyone, for being here. What's up, everybody? All right, you guys. Now that we've said hello, we can say goodbye. Be back tomorrow. And again, we'll be back at the new nightly time, the 7 p.m. slot time. And on Wednesdays, we'll do it at this time. Again, just because we have the radio show at night. So. Uh-oh, Colt's got a big payout. All right, you guys have a great day. Until next time, Truth Seeker.